The star vocal turn in the very moderate new Smurfs film is Rihanna, phoning in an undemanding audio contribution as the female character named Smurfette. But there is little to no music in this laborious slice of content. One of the many frustrating and disconcerting things about it. It follows their 2017 version, which did okay at the box office, taking $144 million worldwide against a $60 million budget. This latest iteration was directed by the relatively inexperienced duo of Felipe Laco and Arthur Quack, working from a script by Pam Brady, who is rather justly respected for her work on South Park and Team America: World Police. Smurfette is captured, while the rest are changed into human form by a witch. There are also some decent gags featuring sound effect Smurf, who communicates in sound effects. They will be pleased to see some cute Smurfs and some vaguely threatening, but never scary bad guys. He keeps trying to imbue the role with a folksy charm that just isn't present in the script. Awkwafina is fine as the lead Smurf, but doesn't get much opportunity to do anything beyond mildly exasperated. Our journalism is funded entirely by our members. So you raise supporting our reporters and upholding our commitment to fearlessly investigating the most important issues of our time. Plus, we've made it really quick and easy. So what are you waiting for? Become a member today. Only James Corden as the depressed Smurf manages to inject a little heart into proceedings. Corden sells the notion that his character is so lacking in self-worth that he can't even think of a name foe. Are himself, and his inner turmoil about discovering he has cosmic powers rings true. Older viewers who might feel superior about watching an animated movie in the first place will likely be more irked by the lack of any real jokes or memorable musical numbers. Some of the humor works, particularly when it's aimed at adults, but there are far too few of these moments. The script by Pam Brady, who can really be very funny, is surprisingly bland. She gives her Smurfs and their world none of the satirical edge that might have made this whole thing worthwhile. As it stands, it is hard to imagine this movie doing anything other than making parents wish they were somewhere else. But there seems to be a worrying assumption here that a film aimed at very little kids doesn't need to have a very interesting or engaging story. After much soul-searching, which involves looking at clouds and talking to birds, Smurfette comes to the conclusion that she needs to rescue her fellow Smurfs. Even though they might not regard her as particularly nice or pleasant, once turned back into Smurfs, they are all trapped in a crystal cavern until Smurfette saves them by smashing a nearby rock. For reasons apparently known only to her, she is immune to the rock monster's ability to turn people into literal crystals. And for me, this film shows yet again that there is something about the Smurfs. Those little Belgian creatures with blue skin, both voiced by J.P. Carliak, discover a way to follow them through their magical dimension-hopping gateway. They arrive in a land reminiscent of medieval Europe, except for the presence of a few small and inconsequential differences, such as the sky being filled with rainbow-colored floating islands. The Smurfs' village is under threat from an army of slug-like creatures called the Hackberries, who are attempting to steal the aforementioned magic book from Papa Smurf, who turns out to be a bit of a dick, refusing to lend it to anyone, and Floppy Protuberant Hats, which is basically kryptonite to comedy and entertainment. The 2021 animated movie is Sony Pictures Animation's second attempt at big screen Smurfs. The Smurfs are transported to a fantasy realm, which is what happens when the evil wizard characters Razimal and Gargamel, after fleeing into the forest, the Smurfs fall prey to the slug monsters and are forced to hide in a cave. This very uninteresting and uninspired story plods along for an hour and a half. Though there are some almost interesting surreal scenes when our heroes find themselves in weird alt-universe dimensions. For the target demographic, This probably won't bother them too much. It would be nice to report that the voice cast were giving anything more than the bare minimum effort, but the usually excellent John Goodman is oddly miscast as Papa Smurf. There are flashes of visual inventiveness from the directors, but overall, this is a frustratingly static enterprise. Smurfs is out now in Australia and on the 18th of July in the UK and US. Want to support The Guardian? The best way is to become a member.